Welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to analyze a really fascinating script about a landmark 2026 Indian Supreme Court case. It's called Mohtashem Billah Malik versus Sana Aftab.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense case.
It really is.
Sure.
We are going to explore the intense legal tension between two incredibly heavy concepts, basically child welfare and parental misconduct. Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine your ex-spouse takes your kids across international borders, just blatantly defying court orders.
Right, a total nightmare scenario.
Exactly. Can they retain custody simply by claiming, that the children are comfortable in their new home?
It is a terrifying thought for any parent. And the resulting jurisdictional chaos is, well, it's staggering.
So here's the story at the heart of our sources. Couple goes through a divorce in Qatar. The Qatar court grants custody to the mother, but the father retains guardianship.
And crucially, he holds the children's passport.
Right, he has the passports. But the mother secretly procures duplicate passports and moves their two boys to Srinagar, India. She abruptly disrupts their school year entirely without the father's consent.
The father, left behind in Qatar, then files a habeas corpus petition in India. Now, normally we hear habeas corpus in criminal law when someone is unlawfully detained by the state.
Yeah, like an unlawful arrest.
Exactly. But in family law, it is a powerful tool used to demand the immediate return of a child who has been taken without legal authority.
And during those proceedings, the mother gives a solemn undertaking. Basically a formal, legally binding promise to the court that she will return the children to Qatar to finish their schooling. So after she makes this solemn promise to the Indian judge, what actually happens?
Well, she completely disregards it. She travels back to Qatar alone, leaving the boys behind in India.
Wow.
Yeah. Consequently, the Indian court finds her in contempt, and Qatar officially revokes her custody rights.
You would think that would settle the matter, with the law coming down hard on the abduction.
Yeah. You would think so. But what's fascinating here is despite her glaringly illegal actions, the High Court in India actually ruled in favor of the mother. They effectively decoupled her misconduct from the custody decision.
Wait, how did they justify ignoring an international abduction?
They adopted an incredibly narrow, localized view of welfare. Their entire focus was just on the children's current comfort in Srinagar. They reasoned that because the boys were physically safe and settled in that specific moment, moving them again would be disruptive. They basically swept the contempt of court under the rug.
That sounds a bit like stealing a car, and when the authorities finally track you down, arguing that you should be allowed to keep it because you've already put nice new tires on it. I mean, the car looks great in your driveway.
That is a perfect way to look at it. And it exposes the exact flaw in logic that forced the higher courts to step in and overhaul the decision.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The Supreme Court completely rejected that narrow High Court view. They declared that you cannot just look at where the kids are sleeping tonight and use that isolated snapshot to determine custody.
Right. They essentially had to clarify the concept of welfare under the Indian legal framework, specifically looking at Section 25 of the Guardians and Wards Act. They explained that true welfare is holistic. It is not merely immediate physical comfort.
It encompasses a lot more.
Exactly. It encompasses a parent's fundamental respect for the rule of law, their financial capacity, and the children's educational stability, which the mother had severely disrupted by pulling them out of school mid-session.
And it also includes the children's own preference. The records note the boys only spoke English, were struggling to fit in locally in Srinagar, and explicitly stated they preferred to be with their father.
Which highlights why a holistic view is so crucial. A parent cannot benefit from their own wrongdoing. You cannot manufacture a situation illegally, wait for the dust to settle, and then use the results of that illegal act as a welfare defense.
So what does this all mean? When we look at the practical takeaways for the general public, this case serves as a massive red flag regarding the severe legal dangers of unilaterally moving children across borders. It reinforces the absolute strictness of court undertakings. A promise to a judge is not a casual suggestion.
Absolutely. And for legal professionals, it sets a firm precedent that welfare is not an abstract shield for abduction. Foreign court orders, like the Qatar court revoking the mother's custody, are material facts that domestic courts are mandated to consider.
Right, they aren't just background noise to be dismissed.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this case perfectly captures the agonizing balance courts must strike. They have to weigh genuine compassion for a child's immediate comfort against the strict enforcement of the rule of law. If courts only validate current comfort and ignore the illegal acts that put the child there, they inadvertently incentivize parental abduction.
It is a heavy, complex reality. And we want to leave you with one final provocative thought to ponder as you step back into your day. In an increasingly globalized world where families can so easily cross borders, how can international legal systems evolve to prevent a child from becoming a jurisdictional pawn before the courts even get involved? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.